Hello, my name is Yulia. I'm a former Fulbright Fellow from Ukraine, and this is my YouTube channel where I interview Fulbrighters from all over the world. We talk about studying abroad, cultural exchange, and the scholarship that made all of this possible. Today I'm interviewing Amira from Egypt. Unlike the most of the Fulbrighters that you will see in my channel, she's not a student. She came here to teach. So she came on FLTA program, which stands for Foreign Language Teaching Assistant program. So hi Amira, welcome. Thank you for coming.
Hello,
and
everyone.
please introduce yourself.
Okay, so my name is Amira. I'm here as part of the Fulbright scholarship, but not to study, more of to teach Arabic, one of the foreign languages that is very much needed in the United States.
I see. And do you take any classes or you just teach?
I do take classes, but they're non-credit, so I have like 2 classes per semester. So I've been having some assessment classes, very much related to my field as in teaching, and so part-time student, part-time teacher.
I see. You were teaching before in Egypt as well? What you were teaching and why did you decide to apply for Fulbright, and like how did you come up with this idea?
Okay, so the thing is, back home in Egypt, I used to teach English.
Okay.
But when I decided to apply for this program, here I'm teaching Arabic. So the thing is, I'm working with both languages. So based on my previous experience, I have like 7 years experience, but in teaching English. I've done a little bit of teaching Arabic, but here is like focused, more condensed. So for the very first time, I'm teaching my native language,
I see.
which is actually more challenging for me than teaching Arabic. So.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. And to be selected for this program, did you have to show that you have teaching experience, like language teaching experience, or anyone can be selected?
No, of course. I had to go through so many interviews, of course, all the application process, and then we had to administer, like show our ability to teach languages, to how you can like manage a class. So yes, we had to go through a whole phase of through the application, interview, face-to-face interview, Skype interview. So yeah, it took some time. Yes.
Yeah, it definitely sounds different from the selection process for master's students, because we had just interviews and online application interview and then tests, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it does sound different. And why do you think you were selected? What made you special and stand out of the crowd?
So the thing is, what I do here, other than teaching, it's not only about teaching, but it's also about being an ambassador for your country. So I remember also this was a very important part of the process, is that how are you going to deliver this message about your country and also about your culture. So what I try to do all the time here is how I want others to know about my country. Okay, what they know is, we know the pyramids. This is the first thing everyone asks me. But yeah, okay, we have the pyramids, but there are other stuff. So part of my duties and responsibilities here, as part of the languages department, is that I need them to know more about the culture. So this is also what I try to do in my classes. It's not only about teaching language all the time, but we all the time introduce more aspects about the culture, about the lives of people in Egypt, in the Arab world in general. So yeah.
I see. And what were your expectations before you came here, and were they met? And probably first academically and then like culturally and personally?
Okay, so they are very much different. So when I think of first thing academically, here undergrad, like school or grad school even, is very, very serious. People are really busy, which is very much unlike where I come from.
Okay.
So yes, so people take it very, very seriously. Even students take it very seriously, and but that's one good thing. I think that it's way better how students perceive their classrooms, how they think that this is really important for their future. So this is a good thing, actually. This is the academic life. If if I talk more about the like social life or personal life that I had here, I have to say that it's very different from what we see in movies, because this is the idea, I guess, that everyone has about the States. What we see in movies, we have like, we spend so many years in our life like watching American movies all the time, and you think that this is life, this is how it is. But then when you come here, you actually realize that no, it's not the same. So when I got here, especially in Kalamazoo, Michigan, which is I've never heard ever before about this city before. And when I got here, I thought, okay, wow, this is very different than what I know about the States. So, yeah.
I see. And what was your first cultural shock or the biggest impression that you had? Like, about...
Okay. Let me count. So the thing is, no, seriously, the thing is when I got here in August, and it was very quiet. Of course, this is very different from where I come from. I'm from Alexandria. It's a very vibrant city, crowded, noisy, you know, very lively. When I got here, school hadn't started yet, and there was no one. And I literally mean it when I say there was no one. And I was like, okay, where's everyone? And it got better, of course, by time, but I had to get used to the idea that I'm now living in a quiet city. It's not crowded, it's not that busy, it's not noisy, it's really quiet. So it took me some time, like the first couple of weeks were very harsh, I have to say. But then I thought, okay, this is a good chance for me to study and focus, you know, so... Yeah.
I would interrupt you saying that, like, yeah, Kalamazoo is basically a college town, so most of the people here are students, professors, so in summer when they are not studying, the town is dying. It's like like empty. Yes. It's very different from what we have now.
That's true.
And have you ever been abroad before this? Have you traveled or studied or, I don't know, taught abroad before?
I have been abroad for a couple of reasons, some of which were just for tourism, somewhere I was taking courses before I was going with some of my students abroad. So I've been to Russia. It was the first country I've ever been to alone before. I've been to Lebanon, I've been to Emirates, I've been to the UK last year, and then finally this year also part of the Fulbright scholarship I had my very first orientation in Morocco.
I see.
And then here.
I see. And I'm wondering, so most of the countries that you named, you speak the language, either Arabic or English. And how do you manage to get around in Russia?
Okay, that was hard because I remember that was in 2013. I was part of the Seliger Youth Forum. And the problem is that where I was, not so many people there spoke English. I was like, okay, how can we communicate? So I had one of two options. Either I had to draw some stuff.
Okay,
yes,
that's great.
Literally, yes. So I remember once I needed to take a train from St. Petersburg back to Moscow to catch my flight. And we just couldn't communicate. I had to literally draw a train on a piece of paper. Yes, I did that.
That's cool. I never thought about that. I usually like try to explain it all.
It's like
gestures.
Train, yes.
Choo choo, I don't know.
Exactly, but it was hard. And or Google Translate. Okay. It's not the best, but that's the option that I had back then. But I had a really good time in St. Petersburg.
Amira, tell us more about your home country, about Egypt. Like, why would someone want to go there for traveling, studying, work? Like, what is special about Egypt?
Okay, so this is kind of my role here. What I'm doing is that all the time I'm encouraging people, why don't you come to Egypt? Why don't you come visit it maybe in the summer? And I'm doing this all the time with my students, and I'm like, why don't you come and stay with my family at home? So when we talk about Egypt, I guess the first thing that I have to mention is, of course, tourism, and because it's such a big thing there. And I guess the best thing about it is that you have so many options. So if you're someone who's more interested in like just enjoying the good weather, the sea, the sun, and so on, of course I would like encourage everyone to visit Alexandria, my home city. they could, of course, visit Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, Dahab. Everyone is asking me about Sharm el-Sheikh all the time. If you're more into like the desert life and all the Bedouin styles that we have in Egypt, I would definitely encourage people to visit Siwa. It's an amazing place, Siwa Oasis. Also, if you're more into like visiting all the museums, the temples, all the pharaonic stuff, I would, of course, ask you to visit Cairo, of course, and then go to Luxor, for example. So that's the best thing about it, is that you have so many options, and so it would suit each and every person.
Well, thank you for this travel guide. And you mentioned that your students are interested about going to Egypt, and I'm assuming about studying Arabic. And why do you think American students have so much interest in that?
That's a very good point, because when I came here, I had no expectation. I wasn't sure, like, why do these students really study Arabic, and why are they interested in even learning such a hard language? We all know that. So I was absolutely surprised by the number of American students that are very much into learning Arabic. So I have like 2 language classes for 2 different levels, and both are very much into the language. For so many different reasons. So I have some students here who are majoring in like political science, so they want to know more about the Middle East, what's going on. As I told you, it's also not only the language, but also part about the culture. Some are hoping to find jobs in the Middle East, especially in Dubai, so they're preparing themselves to know more about the language, of course, which is a very clever thing to do. Some are just interested in certain countries in particular and their culture. So I have some students who are just dying to visit Egypt, maybe Morocco, Jordan. So they are also preparing themselves, like to have study abroad programs. We offer these at the department for students to study Arabic in one of the universities in Jordan, for example, during the summer. So it's all preparing them for what they have after they finish their undergrad classes, of course.
Well, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
And, well, probably going back to the previous question about traveling in Egypt, what is the most famous traditional food in Egypt, and would you recommend it to try to foreigners, or maybe already introduced foreigners and Americans and other international students here into that, and what was their experience?
Right. So yes, I've been doing some cooking here since I got here, but it turned out really well. So I remember I had an around the world presentation, part of our Fulbright organization. I made so much koshari, and everyone knows what this means. It was a hard job, but I really enjoyed it, and I think that everyone enjoyed. Did you?
I did.
Good. Okay.
I will also ask you to tell more about the around the world presentations.
Yes. So that was one, and I guess what's really good about koshari is that it suits everyone, vegetarian, so that was a good choice. Also for the international festival, I made misa'a, which is the eggplant dish with the minced beef.
That was very delicious. I tried it as well.
Good to know. So yes, I've been doing some cooking since I got here, and I was telling people about all the stuffed food that we have, and they were like, wow, that sounds delicious. I was like, yeah, it is. I do miss the Egyptian cuisine very much.
And to me, at least, it sounded like, it tasted also like from home. I mean, the similar flavors that we have in Ukraine, for example. I mean, something like very like homemade, warm, like comfort food that doesn't have any like strong flavor. They may, scare people away. It's like very like nice and welcoming food, as for me at least.
Great.
So yeah, and did others like it, or I don't know, do foreigners like Egyptian food, or sometimes it's too weird to them?
No, on the contrary, I found here people, they loved it so much. Also the falafel, of course, and everyone's like falafel. Okay, I'll make some falafel. So yeah, that was fun. And also I'm also a member of the Arabic club here. We just started this year with some of the undergrad students, and like every month we have a cooking night where American students cook their own very authentic Egyptian dishes. They do this on their own. They've been doing a really good job, yes. We have movie nights every month, so we watch any Arabic movie. We've had an Egyptian one, a Palestinian movie. So every now and then, as I told you, it's more about the culture and what they know and what they do not know about the culture. Even we discuss like all the news, political issues that's going on in the Middle East. So it's very interesting when I see what they really think about the Arab world and what goes on there, and how much they are really into all the affairs of the Arab world.
Did Western Michigan University had Arabic club, and was it the same active before you came here, or this year it became more active?
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to do. So they did have one before, but the thing is, like, sometimes, you know, when student organizations, they start off and then everyone gets busy with their classes, and then they stop working on these projects. So I was like, okay, I'm here, let's do this. We meet once a week and we prepare for the meetings, and it doesn't take much time, but still we try in every single meeting to introduce something about the culture. Sometimes I just make them see movies, songs. I had a special night for Valentine's where I had them to listen to different songs from not only from Egypt, from all the Arab countries, and how people in the Arab world, for example, celebrate Valentine's. So
that's interesting. Nice. That's cool.
Yeah.
You're definitely doing a good job as ambassador of your country at Western.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you also mentioned about the Around the World presentation. Tell us more about that. What was that?
Okay, so being part of the Fulbright organization here at Western, I was given the chance to have my own presentation about my country, about the culture. It was such a success that I got at that time in just 1 hour, I think, to talk about different aspects about my country, and having to see my fellow Fulbrighters attending, some of my professors, and even my students have attended. So that was very, very, very encouraging for me to see like everyone around me, and everyone was encouraging me so much. So it was a good chance to let people know more about my country, all the obvious things, of course, the well-known things, but also more stuff that no one knows about. And I guess the best feedback that I got after this presentation was like, people were telling me, wow, now you made us really want to visit Egypt. I was like, yes, wow, this is the whole purpose of the presentation. So that's why I think it was a huge success, and I think it was one of my highlights during my whole year here. Yeah,
that's cool. I was at the presentation, and it was very good, and I feel like those presentations are like growing and growing every month, every year, and there are more and more people getting interested in that, and that's really amazing.
Right.
And how we can bring the community and share our experience here.
Yes.
And so what does Fulbright mean for you? What does being a Fulbrighter mean for you, and how does that benefit your experience here?
Okay, so one of the best things that I had here during my experience was the kind of community that I was always around. And having to have this Fulbright family, I call them family, made my experience here just go way easier, because I always knew that there was someone. If I needed something, there was always someone from the very first, even before I got here. Fellow Fulbrighters like yourself, who were helping us even before we got to the States. So when we were thinking about where to live, where to buy stuff, furniture, everything, and it made me feel safe, that at least I know that there's someone there for me who would help me, even give me a ride, you know. So this is the best thing about it. And also one part is that every now and then we have our events, our own events and gatherings. So we meet, I know, even if everyone's very busy with whatever they're doing, but still we have this connection that we're there for each other, and it's more like a family.
It is indeed.
Yes.
What would you tell someone who is just thinking to apply for Fulbright program, for either of those, like to study, to teach, to do research, like, I don't know, what would you recommend while applying, and also like how would you encourage or inspire people that like, yes, you must do that?
Definitely apply. Yes, as simple as that. So whatever program you choose, if it's a master's, a PhD, an FLTA like myself, a research program, whatever it is, just apply. This has been a life-changing experience for me. Maybe it's not a very long one, just a 10-month program, but still I think of myself that before I come here and now I'm about to finish my adventure, I call it an adventure and an experience, I'm a very different person, I can say so.
Yeah, I guess many of us feel the same way.
Yes.
And I support every single word that you said.
Yes, definitely.
So thank you, Amira, for coming
Thank
today
you.
and sharing your experience. It was a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so
much. If you have any questions to Amira or me, you can leave them in the comments below, or I will link Amira's Facebook and Instagram so you can contact her directly. If you like this video, please let us know by hitting the like button, and to make sure that you won't miss the future videos and updates, follow the YouTube channel and my Instagram. You can get also more information on my Instagram. And also I'll appreciate your opinion, what else you would like to hear in the videos. So thank you, Amira, again.
Thank you.
And see you guys in the next videos.
See ya.